Welcome back to the most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube. Welcome back to Swivel Chair Sports. I'm your host, Zach Circlework Birtle, here with the host today, Aaron and Joe. Go and say hi, guys.
Hi.
Alright, so in this video, we'll be doing another episode of our winners and losers, this time over week 3 of the NFL season. Similar to the last couple videos, we'll be going around, each giving a winner or a loser from week 3 in the NFL. Kind of give our reasoning why they're a winner or a loser. And then just keep going around and around until we just run out of people to talk about.
If you like our content, be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment. Let us know what you think.
Yep, your subscription means a lot in helping us reach our goal of 250 subscribers. But back to the video. So starting off with, I'll start off with a winner on my end. Probably one of the most obvious ones of the week in a way. Andy Dalton. Because probably 90% of the NFL fan base thought this dude was retired. Perhaps. The other 10% knew he was in Carolina and just was probably never going to play. Dude gets a chance to step in after Bryce Young gets benched after only 18 games for some reason. But proves that maybe the Panthers aren't quite as bad as we all thought. And maybe Bryce Young just really is that bad. Maybe he's just really that bad of a pick. Big old bust. I don't know. I'm not totally sold on Bryce Young being that bad. Pretty sure the Panthers just kind of had a little bit of a spark behind a change under center for the first time in a while. You put a backup in there, it just seems to kind of invigorate a team. I mean, we saw last year when Aaron Rodgers went down for the Jets, they still somehow beat the Bills with Zach Wilson basically all game. So I don't really know. Sometimes a team just rallies behind a backup, is able to just gut their way to a win. And they were also, playing the Raiders, who may just really be that bad. So, shout out to Andy Dalton.
I got two things. I got 2 points about that. One, I think they played better because everyone realized their jobs, like Bryce Young, is a scapegoat the past couple weeks. So if they still do bad, there's a lot more jobs on the line all of a sudden. And 2, I don't know why everybody's so shocked that the 14-year NFL vet can come into a game and play better than a kid with 18 games under his belt. Astounding, apparently, all the casuals, but that's all I got to say. Congrats, Andy Dalton. Like you said, winner for the week, but just shocking. The guy has a couple hundred games under his belt, and he's a lot better than a 22-year-old.
Yeah, and that Raiders defense is maybe not as good as I thought it would be going into this year, because they just let the Panthers score 30 on them. So
Yeah, I actually had the Panthers as losers this week because it's
interesting.
Andy Dalton has success, but what do you do with Bryce Young? I know that they've said that they aren't planning on trading him, but people have reached feelers out there, I'm sure. So I think this is just a sort of a testimonial to how important it is for, I think, a majority of these young guys to sit. Jordan Love sat behind Rodgers. Sam Darnold, came in, started for the Jets, didn't really have success. Then he went and backed up at a couple places, and now he's having success there in Minnesota. So I think it's really important for a lot of these young guys to sit, get that extra, at least year under your belt of learning the system and getting mentored a little bit. But then you get players. I'll just throw out another loser that I have. Anthony Richardson, not really looking that great, sub 50% completion percentage. But with a guy like him, it's a little bit different. He hasn't played a whole lot of football, so it's getting reps for him is really important. But how do you balance the getting reps versus just risk him losing his confidence from not playing well?
I think 8 games Anthony Richardson now has started. Like you said, real small sample size, but I'm on the side of good organizations and good coaches make players better. Players or teams like Carolina I think it kind of shows how good Cam Newton really freaking was. Because they were trash before that to get Cam Newton at number one. They were trash after Cam. Get Bryce Young, look like they're about to ruin him. Yeah. And with that, this one leads a little bit into my losers category. So I'm going to start off with a loser. And I'm going with any Cleveland Browns quarterback. Speaking of good organizations make players better, they don't make shit better. I think Myles Garrett would have been Myles Garrett regardless of being in Cleveland. Because Cleveland don't do nobody no good. I mean, to take away Baker Mayfield, and I was looking up some stuff. The last time the Browns had a quarterback start for more than 2 consecutive seasons, so at least 3 years starting before Baker Mayfield, was Tim Couch, who I don't think a lot of people know who that is, but he was the number 1 pick in the 1999 NFL Draft in front of Donovan McNabb. He turned out pretty dang well. Maybe if Tim Couch went to Philly or somewhere else instead of going where he went, he'd be a little bit better. Couch was terrible. He had 64 touchdowns and 67 interceptions. You know, about a Cleveland Brown quarterback type stat right there.
Nice.
Almost other than
nice.
him, which was in '99, the last guy to start more than 3 or more consecutive years was Bernie Kosar. If anyone knows who that is, most people don't. Probably anyone watching this channel definitely doesn't. That was in the 80s. So, yeah, any Cleveland Brown quarterback, I mean, I don't think it matters. They could have drafted anybody, and your career was pretty much gone at that point. So, they had a Cleveland. Deshaun got guaranteed money. I don't even know if I blame Deshaun for all the reason he's bad. It might be 50% him and injuries. It might be 50% the Cleveland freaking Browns.
Yeah, I said after week 1 that they may be one of the worst teams in football, and they kind of cemented that this past week by losing to the Giants of all teams and Daniel Jones just dicing them up. So even that defense is starting to feel the effects of just the shitty culture that's been building up in that franchise for quite some time. But my first loser, got the 49ers Super Bowl hopes, obviously, for this season, sure. I mean, they've got a chance, but McCaffrey, not looking good. Going to Germany to see a specialist. You don't go to Germany to see a specialist if everything's hunky-dory. So, I've got a feeling he may be done for the year. Javon Hargrave, done for the year. Kittle, probably going to have lingering health issues all season because I think it was a hamstring. Deebo Samuel, out for an extended period of time. So, yeah, this season, for sure, probably going to be an uphill battle for them to make the Super Bowl. But I also think this was probably their last good chance at winning a title in at least a few years. Because you got to worry about Purdy's contract coming up. He's playing well, despite McCaffrey being out, despite Deebo being out, and Kittle being out this past game. He's been playing well. He's probably going to get a $60 million a year contract. You just paid Ayuk, so someone's got to go. Kittle's on the downhill slope, seemingly. I mean, at least from a health standpoint. Similar to Kelsey, he's just going to keep getting older, and Kelsey's kind of seeming like he's slowing down. I mean, Trent Williams has health issues every year, popping up once again. That defense is probably going to lose Charvarius Ward this offseason. Going to continue to lose people year over year after Purdy gets paid. So I think the Niners Super Bowl hopes probably pretty much throughout the 2020s are cooked. And that's a hot take. It's going to take a while to see if, hopefully it takes a while to see if that comes true. Otherwise, I may look like an idiot this season. But yeah, bold take, but I'm going with it. Niners 2020 Super Bowl hopes are done.
Scalding hot take, and I'll just push back just a little bit. I think a lot of people forget that they had that 3-game slide sort of in the middle of last season when they had Deebo was hurt and a couple other injuries. I think Trent Williams was also hurt. But then they kind of righted the ship and figured things out, and obviously went on their Super Bowl run there. So I think it's probably still too early to panic, although some of these injuries are definitely some big injuries, and they're not just for a couple weeks this time. Some of them are season ending. So that definitely sucks, but they're a good team. They've still got good weapons.
Sure. Purdy's playing.
I'd still say, even if they make it in on a wild card berth, that's they're still a dangerous team. So I wouldn't count the 49ers out this season or for the rest of the 2020s, because if you've got any faith in Brock Purdy as being a good quarterback, which obviously you don't, then they should still be.
I said he's been playing well.
Bert thinks Purdy is a CMC merchant, so that's how he truly feels. Despite what
it was a joke made in confidence. No, Purdy's been playing great. He's not the thing I'm worried about. It's the fact that the rest of the team around him isn't gonna be able to, unless they draft really well. They could draft really well and prove me wrong real easily. But assuming they struggle with the draft a little bit, I don't know. This is the same team that took Trey Lance 3rd overall, after all. Happened to just luck into Brock Purdy at the very last pick of the draft. But, these contracts are just going to expire, and then they're going to have to figure out how to pay them, and eventually they're just going to run out of money somewhere. So that's kind of my whole theory around that. I just don't know if they're going to be able to put a good enough team around Brock Purdy after he gets paid to win a Super Bowl before 2030.
Well, they still have to battle Kyle Shanahan blowing fourth quarter leads, which he did again this past week.
Yeah.
10 points halfway through the fourth. And they blew it to a Rams team that's decimated by injuries right now.
Yeah.
We already all know about the Super Bowl stuff, and they'll play other playoff blown games, so we're just going to... I see both sides of it. I have confidence that they'll be okay, but I see exactly the point you're making, though, Bert.
So I'll stay in conference here, and winners, Green Bay Packers. They're winning games with their backup quarterback. So now there's absolutely no rush to bring Jordan Love back. You're sitting in a great position. Not only are you winning games, your backup's playing well. So they're in a very good position despite losing their franchise guy week one and into week one. So Green Bay Packers, still winners.
Yeah, no. Malik Willis has been great.
Balling. I had one of my winners was Matt LaFleur, and Bert definitely made the point before season started that he would be up for Coach of the Year, and he's doing everything to prove that. Malik Willis, I'm playing the Titans. My other winner goes right into that game is Will Levis. And he's a winner this week because there's no backup quarterback to...
Well, yeah, he just lost to the backup quarterback.
Exactly my point. So we played bad, not looking too great, but at the same time, you're a best competition. They sent out the building, man. So the mailman is still looking okay. Not playing great, but he's still... they're going to live with what they got. It's either him or they go with Mason Rudolph. And at this point, the way the offense looks, you already drafted Will Levis 2nd round, so you might as well stick around with the guy.
Yeah.
So congrats to him at least having what seems to be some job security due to lack of competition.
You can't say the man's not entertaining. You never know what he's going to do. You never know what he's going to do every week. It's something new. Oh, I love that guy. Another winner. This one's an obvious one. Jayden Daniels, obviously. Just grabbing the Rookie of the Year race by the neck and running away with it, seemingly. Obviously, still a lot of season left to play, but he's put himself in great position already through 3 games to run away with that award as Caleb Williams continues to struggle, despite a decent week this past week. But just didn't match up to what Jayden Daniels did on Monday. I think he only threw like 2 or 3 incompletions, like something stupid like that. 2 incompletions. An absolute, like you guys were saying in the text messages the other night, and I just didn't respond. An absolute fucking dime to the back right corner of the end zone to Terry McLaurin. My goodness, what a throw with a man all up in his face too. Like one of the most impressive throws I've ever seen from a rookie, unless you count Anthony Richardson's throw earlier, because he's kind of a rookie still, right?
Yeah.
But no, Jayden Daniels, incredible. Probably was already the front runner for Rookie of the Year before this week, and then just really started, kind of running away with it. Him and Terry McLaurin seem to be getting on the same page. Hopefully that's the case, so my fantasy team can have a little bit of life breathed into it. I don't really have much else to say. I mean, it's pretty obvious why he's a winner this week. Dude, he outdueled Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. So, he may...
Yeah.
Commanders might be a sneaky playoff team if the NFC is a little weak this year.
Yeah. Kind of piggybacking off that, I also had the Commanders getting their guy, but viewers of the Washington-Cincinnati game, just overall,
it was fun.
Exciting game, no punts, back and forth, just close contest. So if you got to watch that game, you definitely won watching football.
While we're on the topic of rookies, I know Burke made a point of Jayden Daniels running away with, Rookie of the Year to, 3 weeks in, but I'd like to put up an argument that Malik Nabers.
Yeah.
Jayden Daniels is a quarterback, and he looked amazing last night. But Malik Nabers is doing it against all odds. He plays for the New York Football Giants with the superstar quarterback Danny Dimes throwing to him. So I feel like that just going against that and those odds might put him in a landslide right now for that Rookie of the Year. But I just have him as a winner because, the catches he made this past weekend, if anybody saw the highlights, it's hard not to see him. Lost one guy, and then the body control on the touchdown the second touchdown that he scored of the game.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Against the Browns, the Browns aren't some crappy defense. It's not like the Panthers, or it's not even how the Raiders have been performing. Like, it's not that. Like, he did that against a top 2 or 3 defense, or some people argue the best defense last year as a team. Like, kid's out there balling. So I'm gonna give it to him just in the fact that, another LSU guy seems to be, they're just putting out guys left and right, and they're not just guys, they are the guys right now to play.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably fair to say he's the second place leader in Rookie of the Year right now, because he's like the only person that Daniel Jones throws to. So, my next loser... Other than the other team. My next loser is Doug Pederson, because they ain't getting rid of Trevor Lawrence after paying him the bag they did. So if the train keeps running off the tracks like it is currently, Doug Peterson's probably going to be out of a job this season. So sucks to be him. Obviously, Super Bowl winning head coach up in Philly with Nick Foles. Used to be a good offensive mind. I don't know if it's him, if it's Trevor, if it's a little bit of both. Trevor seemingly has good weapons down there in Jacksonville. Travis Etienne in the backfield. He's got Gabe Davis now alongside rookie Brian Thomas Jr. and then mainstay Christian Kirk at the receiver positions. Evan Ingram at tight end. He seems like he's got everything. Maybe the offensive line's the problem, I guess, but the defense is terrible. I know that for a fact. Arguably the worst in the league right now.
34 points and a half.
Yeah.
Oof.
It's unfortunate because I like Doug Peterson. I liked him when he was an OC in Kansas City. I liked him as a head coach in Philly. I thought he was going to go down there and, turn Trevor Lawrence's career around. And he seemingly did that for about a year and a half. And then everything just seemingly went to shit. I don't know. But yeah, sucks to be Doug Peterson right now because I'm sure he's the only one outside of Dallas with that hot of a seat at the moment.
Aaron, can I cut you off real quick before you
Go
start?
for it.
So Burke, I had them as one of my losers, so I'm just gonna add some stats in there just to
Go
prove
for
your
it.
point even more.
Yeah.
First 3 games, 17 points, 13 points, 10 points. And I'm not even going to name the weapons that you just named, including Trevor Lawrence at quarterback, because that's unacceptable. 8 out of 9 losses dating back to week 13 last year. And that one win barely counts because it was against the Carolina Panthers, who scored 0 points. So we can almost say 9 straight losses if that was anybody other than the Panthers. So just proving your point. That's all.
It's
Go ahead, Aaron.
It's what? Go ahead.
Trevor Lawrence should be good, man. I don't get it. Confused. It's baffling. It's not all the the defense ain't why they scored 10 points, like Joe said. Like the defense ain't the reason they haven't scored 20 all fucking year. So I don't know what the hell's wrong with Trevor Lawrence and that offense. It should not be bad. It should be pretty good. And I'm just mad
People need to stop.
because I had them.
Sorry, my bad.
I was mad because I had them as like a top 10 team before the draft. And then they went out and did Brian Thomas Jr. and I dropped him out of the power rankings and I felt stupid. Well, now I feel justified for doing so. So it's frustrating. They're an enigma. I don't understand.
We need to stop throwing the term generational quarterback around.
I guess.
That's all I'm saying.
I guess.
You know, it matters about the system, but we need to stop throwing that term around loosely like it just happens every freaking year, okay?
Yeah, and speaking of overpaid quarterbacks, winner this week, Dak Prescott, once again fooling everybody that
Hey,
he's
he
a
got
good
his
quarterback.
bag already, man.
Exactly. And he showed why he deserves it, despite being down 22 points in the fourth quarter. And then, for some reason, the Ravens decided to stop playing football and thought it was two-hand touch and let the Cowboys back in it. But Dak Prescott, putting up big numbers yet again. Good for him.
Yeah, I have to add on to that real quick because in my head, I should have texted this the other night. In my head, I was like, as they were making the comeback, well, close to comeback, I was like, if they win, it's gonna be great for Dak. If they lose, just another empty calorie stat line for Dak. Sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So.
It was the stereotypical Dak Prescott game.
Yeah.
Wait until you're too far gone and too far out of it to actually, have a shot at winning the game, and then go throw up some ridiculous stats and make it look like a close game when you got your ass beat for 3 quarters.
Yeah.
And people had the nerve to attack Tua last year and say he didn't deserve his contract. Meanwhile, we got Dak and Trevor Lawrence running around putting out these performances as well. And I'm just saying, at least Tua led the league in yards last year.
Stop paying QBs is the moral of the story.
Well, you better make sure they're the right one.
Yeah.
Putting out. I mean, we got Deshaun Watson getting paid like he is too to put out. Well, he's on the Browns, so it's okay. They're fine. That's about par for the course with them. Mine's like a winner loser ish. The winners for the week are the practice squad, free agents, and depth players on NFL rosters right now. Being that the losers are all the guys getting injured.
Yeah.
It's not a good thing.
Especially 49ers and Rams.
Yeah. Hey, Cody Schrader might get a shot.
That's why it's a win and lose. Like, I don't care how bad you hate someone. I don't want to ever see players go down and get hurt. But I mean, I have a list right here. Just some names who went out this week. So this is not Tua, not the CMCs, not the Nick Chubb, not the guys who have been out or got hurt in previous weeks. Just this past week, we had Myles Garrett got a little banged up. He hurt his foot. Wyatt Teller, starting lineman for the Browns. Again, the Browns are the Browns anyways. The Chargers, Joe Alt, Rashawn Slater, both starting tackles. And look like they might be missing at least a few games each for sure. Joey Bosa got hurt.
Again.
Herbert went out in the middle of the game. You have
Derwin James suspended for not playing football the right way.
Yeah, suspended.
Well, that's what happens when you
before the
torpedo
Chiefs
your head at receivers. But
crazy.
right before the Chiefs game, ain't that wild?
So,
Crazy how it
hey,
works.
refs are on our side. Sucks to be everybody
They
else.
said Kelsey's taking a beating enough by Taylor Swift taking all his talent that he didn't need to get suplexed again. They got Lane Johnson, Devontae Smith, which that should have been called a flag. I don't know how of all hits in the NFL they didn't call that one.
That was a Vontez Burfict on AB type hit. That thing
was So I hope Devontae gets better. Mekhi Becton went out. Teron Armstead's hurt. Byron Murphy, Leonard Williams, Laporta went out with an ankle injury. Hey, practice squad guys, this is what you're there for. This is, take advantage of your shot. Depth piece guys. Hope it all works out for you guys. Free agents. Looks like you got some holes opening up on the roster, but damn.
Yeah.
It is it seems like each week right now, it's just more and more big time guys. Not even just big time, but just more and more injuries are just stacking up.
Just important players, just starters that have an impact on the game. Just keep getting hurt. It sucks.
I'm seeing a few guys that are starting special teamers.
Yeah.
And that doesn't seem like a big deal, but it's going to seem like a big deal if your backup messes up and they return a punt return for a touchdown on you.
Yeah.
It's a big deal until it's not.
The next winner I'll pull out, I got the Cardinals' optimism. Despite losing this week, it was to the Detroit Lions, and they held them to 20 points, only lost by 1 touchdown. So, I am quickly becoming a really big fan of this Cardinals team. They just seem to completely flipped the script from last season. Despite being 1-2, they've played really, really well. Beat the snot out of the Rams. Same Rams team that just beat the Niners a week later. Kept it competitive against the Bills, only losing by 1 score. Kept it competitive with the Lions, keeping it to 1 score. And only allowing the Lions to score 20 points is huge. I think that proves that this defense is kind of starting to shape out a little bit. Round into form a little bit for this Cardinals team. Kyler Murray, not quite as good as he was in week 2 or week 1 for that matter, in week 3. But, that's going to happen from time to time. I don't expect Kyler Murray to play like, Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen. I just need him to be, above average. 12th best quarterback in the league. And I think this team can at least, compete for a playoff spot, especially with the injuries going on in the NFC West. The Niners and Rams, going to be tough for them to compete with all the injuries they've sustained. They've got a lot of good talent left, but the Cardinals could compete with them now, potentially. The Seahawks leading the division right now. I don't expect them to be able to maintain what they've been doing necessarily. Geno Smith, 3 touchdowns and 3 picks through 3 games. So he's been, kind of game manager-esque, has really had to kind of rely on that defense and running game, as well as playing some kind of not that good competition. But, I think Cardinals fans should be feeling really, really good despite being 1-2 through 3 weeks in the season. I think they've got just as good of a chance as anybody in that NFC West to come out with a division title at this point.
Yeah, and kind of just a little bit of a piggyback off that game. Coaches not taking the points is a loser. Went for it on 4th down. I think it was inside the 20 for the Cardinals in that game. Didn't end up picking it up. Lose by 7. So it doesn't ultimately matter. But there were several instances, and I can kind of see, the Lions can kind of put it on you on offense. I kind of understand, going for it on that one. But in the Bears-Colts game, the Bears were down inside the goal and went for it and didn't get it. And turned the ball back over to the Colts.
Don't forget Sirianni.
a good defense going against an offense that has been struggling, especially when you've got a young quarterback yourself in an offense that's, kind of been struggling. Take the points, man. Get out of there with 3 and then kick it off. Don't swing that momentum so far back the other way, giving the other team so much confidence. So call me a little more conservative than some of these head coaches, but I think they should. I think a lot more coaches should take the points when the opportunity arises.
Well, and you left off the most puzzling one of the weekend, which isn't quite in the discussion of what you're talking about, but kind of still in that same vein. Sirianni before halftime choosing to go for it on 4th down with less than 30 seconds left. Were they planning on in a running play of all things instead of taking it? They were going to do a field goal anyways. Just kick the damn field goal then. It made no sense. They're lucky they won that game because that almost cost them. They ended up winning by 3, I think. So they would have lost by 3. They'd be kicking themselves.
And, if you want to get super in-depth on this isn't the NFL, but fucking Eli Drinkwitz going for it on your own side of the field when you literally run the clock out at halftime. Give the ball, don't convert, give the ball back to Vanderbilt with 17 seconds left. They end up making a 57-yard field goal and almost costing Mizzou a win. Big mistakes here. Big mistakes. Can't have it. Sorry, that was just my little Mizzou rant for
just analytics. People who love analytics. You're seeing it in the game now. I feel like a lot of coaches, there's some coaches I think like Dan Campbell, who really believe when they're going for 4th down, they're doing it for momentum reasons or because they truly believe my team is better than yours. My guys are better than your guys. But I think a lot of it now, I think there's a lot of coaches that are getting into the analytics and, analytics says go for it, so I'm going to go for it, but then call a dumbass play at the same time to do it.
Yeah.
So,
a sweep outside when it hasn't been working all game.
Or a stretch. When you
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't let Kirk Cousins have that ball in his hand, especially with the refs getting those calls.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Anyway, one of my next winners is the channel. The Chiefs and the Steelers are 3-0. That's all I know.
Oh, yeah. They in the AFC Championship game.
I full on expected this from the Chiefs. As a Steelers fan, we're just happy to be here. 3-0. Justin Fields had a good game. Defense is lights out. I will say our defense is killer. So, Burke, you made a point in our group message. You said the Steelers, this was the best chance for them to get rolling, but even you said the way they're playing, and if we could carry some momentum into that tough part of the season. Remember, you had us getting losing all those games to Baltimore, Cleveland, Cincy, Philly, KC. I tell you this much, KC the only team I'm freaking nervous about. Anybody can get this right now. Anybody can run it.
Yeah.
Because Cincinnati and Cleveland certainly ain't scaring shit.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. To be fair, I did have y'all starting off 4-0, so I predicted this to happen.
You did.
For
you gave us the beginning of the season. I remember that, but
yeah.
Hey, 3-0. I'm gonna take it. I'm happy.
I totally agree with you. The AFC North doesn't look quite as big and bad and scary as we all thought it was going to be. The Bengals don't look good at all. The Browns look awful. And then the Ravens, that's actually my next loser, and I'll go right into it. The Baltimore's legitimacy as a player, as a Super Bowl contender, has taken quite the hit these last 2 weeks, in my opinion. First, you drop a double-digit fourth-quarter lead to a Raiders team that just went on to get dismantled by the Carolina Panthers of all fucking teams. So, in a weird way, you're technically worse than the Panthers. And then on top of that, this week, in your own game, you were destroying Dallas all 3 of the first 3 quarters. And then you almost choke it there at the end. Somehow, some way, when you've been running it down their throats all game long, for whatever reason, you can't convert when it matters most. Your defense can't stop a leak when it matters most. You can't even recover an onside kick when it matters most. The only team in the NFL so far this season to not be able to recover an onside kick. So, obviously that's kind of a fluky thing. I'm kind of exaggerating a little bit with that point, but I'm not too worried about Baltimore right now. They could get stuff going. Derrick Henry could get more comfortable. But that offensive line is a little sketchy at times. Flowers has kind of disappeared these last 2 weeks in a way. Likely hasn't been anywhere near what he was in week 1. Mark Andrews is still MIA. It's like, I don't know what to think of this Baltimore Ravens team right now. But what I do know is I don't think they're the second best team in the AFC. I think that's the Bills.
Yeah, I like that. They've definitely sort of kind of come out of nowhere. I think a lot of people, especially the three of us, expected them to struggle a little bit more in defense than they have. I got Sean Payton as a winner because the Broncos are pretty much guaranteed 4 wins as he gets to beat up his old division, the old NFC South. Obviously going in there and beating the Bucks this last week. So congrats to Sean Payton and Bo Nix getting his first win, and we'll see if they take a step forward this next week again.
My next winner kind of ties more to Burke's last point. I actually have the Baltimore rushing game as a winner this week. I mean, let's see, was it a week or 2 weeks ago? People were talking about, why isn't Derrick Henry getting the ball as much? He's a guy that, wears you down, this and that. And John Harbaugh said, we didn't bring him in here for that. Well, let's see, first 2 weeks, Derrick Henry has 13 carries. Next game, 18 carries. And then, oh, look at that. You gave him 25 carries, which is what people mainly say. He's a 20, 25, 30 carry guy. He goes for 150 and 2 touchdowns versus a good Dallas defense. And then on top of that, Lamar has another, I think it was like right around 90 rushing yards. I mean, Lamar threw 15 passes. He was 12 of 15. Yeah, you can do that when you rush for 250 plus yards a game. And you have a perfect running back to do it. So, as a Steelers fan, I didn't like to see that. I was hoping more they lean towards the 10 to 15 carry Derrick Henry. I'm hoping this is just an anomaly game that they just let it happen one time and then it's, out the door after this week. But, yeah, nonetheless, I mean, on a week where Burke just made good points about kind of the receivers right now, kind of not showing up where they're at and stuff like that. I mean, if there's anything to lean on, if there's a bread and butter, why not the best running quarterback in the league or arguably best ball carrier in the league in Lamar Jackson and then Derrick Henry?
Yeah. Hey, now let's pump the brakes on best running quarterback. Jayden Daniels has more rushing first downs than him.
Yeah, he's not a better runner. Not a better runner. He's not a better ball carrier than Lamar Jackson right now.
I don't understand how a team with allegedly good defense, and they do definitely have a great running game, I don't understand how they struggle to keep leads right now. That doesn't really make sense. It'd be one thing if it was just the Raiders game and they come out and they put it on the Cowboys and they win easily like they were looking like they were going to do. It's just weird to me that it happened back-to-back weeks against inferior opponents both times, seemingly. Teams with not good running games. I don't... It's weird to me that they weren't able to hold on to those large leads late in games with the running.
Lamar wasn't happy at the end of this week's game.
Yeah.
If you saw that interview.
Yeah, no, I did on the plane.
He wasn't happy with their game plan, and I kind of agree. Like you just said, if they're gonna blow the game, I mean, you might as well just keep running up the points as much as you can. Then, but it doesn't get to that.
Yeah. Next winner, I've got Aaron Rodgers, because he seems to be getting back to his old self in a way. He flirted with 300 yards for the first time in over 1,000 days this past week. Didn't throw any picks, very Rodgers-esque, not throwing picks back-to-back weeks. And he just seemingly, through these first 3 weeks, has just gotten gradually better as they've gone on. Seems to really have started finding a connection with Garrett Wilson there in that receiving core. Obviously, Alan Lazard and him have a rapport from back in Green Bay, and that seems to have extended to the Jets this season. So I expect him to kind of, just continue to get more comfortable in this offense. Hopefully, Breece Hall can get it going. He's been kind of stunted a little bit these last few weeks, but luckily Braylon Allen, the youngest player in the NFL, stepped up, and he's been incredible as a rookie. So hopefully the Jets can, continue to build off the momentum they've built as they go into a pretty favorable, well, not a favorable stretch really. They got Denver this week, but then they got Minnesota, who looks a lot tougher than we all thought they'd be. Buffalo, who looks like they're one of the best teams in the league. Pittsburgh, one of the better defenses right now. So kind of a tough 4-game stretch, all things considered. It'll be interesting to see how Aaron Rodgers can do going up against a little bit of stiffer competition after, kind of getting it put on him for week 1 against the Niners before these 2 cupcakes, we'll say.
So, would you say that Aaron Rodgers has not lost his focus on football and still has a love for the game and hasn't really lost a step? Like someone on this show, I don't remember who said that, but would you say that's correct?
I would say I may have overreacted at the beginning of the season. It's possible. It's possible, but it's the Jets. It is the Jets, so let's just wait and see. All right, let's just wait and see.
I did pick against them last week, so I'm right there in that boat with you. I've got as losers Eagles and Saints offensive performances last week. It seems like they forgot that the objective of the game was to score points until about the last 6 minutes there. Saints fans, welcome to Derrick Carr football yet again.
Yeah.
He
gets your hopes up, and then he lets you down.
For Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And he plays real exciting football for 1, 2, maybe 4 weeks, and then it's right back downhill. So that Eagles-Saints game, that first half was just brutal. But I guess kind of an exciting into it. So
my loser actually ties right into what Aaron just said, and I'm a big fan of this guy. I really am. He's a winner, and I think he still has. I think he's fine. I don't think it's time to panic, but Jalen Hurts has he turns the ball over a lot recently. I mean, I saw a stat the other day. I don't know if it's true or not. I saw it on the online somewhere. And said he has like 25 or 26 turnovers dating back to like the beginning of last year. And I think it might lead the league. It's not what you want to see, especially from your starting quarterback, another guy who's getting paid, rightfully so. But I mean, that's just can't have it. I mean, especially when, especially in the beginning of the season when you're a team with such high hopes and stuff. So luckily it's the beginning of the season. You can still turn it around and get into a flow of things, but it does date back to last season. So it's like, you wonder, is it bad decision making? Is it, how many of those are drops or tip passes kind of thing? I don't know. Nonetheless, 26 turnovers. I mean, the guy ends up making up for it. He scores. They ultimately won that ugly football game this past week. But, yeah, he's just got to cut down on the turnovers, and I think he's fine.
Yeah, he's always had a little bit of a turnover problem dating back to his days in college. That's kind of why Tua took over for him at Bama. My last loser I'm going to bring up, I think, and you could put this guy as a loser just about every single week, I'm sure. Jerry Jones. You could have had Derrick Henry, man. You could have had Derrick Henry. He wanted to be there. You claim he cost too much. Bullshit. He ain't getting paid shit right now in Baltimore. If you go look at his contract, I think he's getting like $5.5 million a year or something stupid like that. Like, he's not getting paid that much, Jerry. And he just came into your building, ran all over your ass, and by the grace of the Almighty, it was only a 3-point loss because for some reason their defense just decided to collapse and let you guys score like 3 consecutive times at the very end. But you could have had Derrick Henry, man. You would have won that game probably if you had Derrick Henry, because I think you had a combined like 50 rushing yards between the whole team. Rico Dowdle, I think, led the running backs in rushing yards with like 20 or something silly like that. Like, it was embarrassing. I about turned the game off before the Ravens decided to let it get interesting. And you are the worst football mind in the history of the game. Give it up. Let someone else do the GMing for once. My gosh, you're terrible.
Billy O, trading D-Hop for a bag of balls.
That's pretty bad too. That's pretty bad too. At least David Johnson did something.
I'll go for a winner. Matt Stafford. Dog.
Mm-hmm.
Certified.
He's got 99 career wins, I believe. Would you care to throw out a guess as to how many of those wins required game-winning drives?
26.
Oh, considering he played in Detroit during that terrible stint, 98. I'm just playing. I'm gonna say at least 50. That might be a lot. That's a lot of game-winning drives. But I'm going 50.
It's 45.
Oh my god.
Almost half of his wins have required game-winning drives.
That's over half.
So,
right? No, I'm tripping. My bad. Math's hard. Math's hard.
Almost.
So not only is he a great quarterback in his own right, he's clutch in every single way. He shows up when it matters most. So shout out Matt Stafford, the winningest of winners, apparently.
Dude's a dog.
I want to know, now that you say that, I want to know what Detroit's record would have been if we just take out those 45 or the 40 of those that happened in Detroit.
They might not have won a game.
Matt Stafford's a monster. My last winner, I mean, I don't know if you... Yeah, you can consider him a winner, but I mean, at the same time, it's kind of expected of the guy. I don't know. Did one of you guys say Sam Darnold earlier?
I said him last week.
As a winner?
Okay, I sort of brought him up.
He's definitely a winner again this week, but the one I'm bringing with Darnold is Jettas. I heard the guy got hurt last year. People coming into the season, there's a lot of talk about, other big names, especially because they didn't know what the quarterback situation would be in Minnesota, but there was still talk about, like the Texans guys like Nico Collins and stuff like that. But I mean, Sam Darnold is balling, and I think a big part of that is Justin Jefferson. I don't know if you guys saw any of the highlights from this past week or the past 3 weeks. The guy's getting open on any and everyone. Doesn't matter right now. I mean, I think was it last week? He made a comment about some receiver being locking up another, or some corner locking up one of the other receivers. Dang, I wish I remembered or wrote it down who it was. He just said, like, they said, Justin Jefferson, how do you feel about going against this matchup? And he said, yeah. They're like, oh, he locked down Garrett Wilson. And he's like, respectfully,
I'm not Garrett Wilson.
I'm not Garrett Wilson's not me, or I'm not Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
And like the guy's going out there.
It was the Niners. It was talking about Charvarius Ward.
Yeah. He went out there and did his thing against them too. I mean, that's an obvious one. Everybody knows Justin Jefferson is like that. He's one of the best receivers. Some guys argue the best receiver in the league. But 3 games in with a quarterback that you had no idea what you were getting out of him. I mean, now you got a guy looking like an MVP candidate at quarterback over there. That's wild.
Yeah, just to piggyback off that, and then unless y'all got anything else, we can wrap it up.
Good.
My last winner was actually going to be the Vikings defense because I feel like they haven't been talked about quite enough. Like, Sam Darnold's obviously been getting a bunch of flowers as he deserves. Week 1, you hold the Giants to 6 points. Whatever, Oh, I mean, it's the Giants, right? Week 2, you hold the Niners to 17. That was with Deebo Samuel, if I'm not mistaken, still. I think he got hurt halfway through the game, but he started. And then, Jordan Mason coming off, a career game, obviously, in week 1 where he just ran all over a good Jets defense. Vikings hold them to only 17 points. Host the Texans the week after that. We're all thinking, this is where the magic kind of runs out, right? Like, yeah, that was a cute win over the Niners. Wow, really surprising. They seem to just have the Niners number recently because I think they beat them last year too. But no, CJ Stroud comes to town. A great offense in the Houston Texans. Joe Mixon ran all over whoever the hell they played in week 1. You hold them to 7. Not even 10. Hold them under double-digit points. Which I think the only team outside of the Vikings this year to hold multiple teams under double-digit points is the Steelers, if I'm not mistaken. So all of a sudden, the Vikings have one of the best defenses in football, and no one's talking about it. I just think I just wanted to bring that up real quick. So.
16 sacks.
Crazy.
In 3 games.
Insane. But
3 games.
Unless y'all got anything else, I think that'll do it for this episode. The most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube, Swivel Chair Sports. I've been your host, Zach Circlework. We're going to hit the coast today. Aaron and Joe. Go and say bye, guys.
Bye.
Cheers.
All right. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Comment down below what your biggest winners and losers of Week 3 in the NFL were, and if you agree or disagree with our opinions. But other than that, deuces. Have a good day.